Welcome to another lore video, and this one is both about the story and about the spate of power play community goals that we've been having and the underlying gameplay involved. In the last video I said that the community goals so far have been very one-sided, and one possible way they could fix that would be to have more evenly matched powers involved. And in a way this one does just that, but not by pairing up powers and trying to find a reason for it. The latest community goal is between no less than 3 powers: Aisling Duval, Jerome Archer and Lee Yong-Rui. The names of each community goal are interesting, and they've made some people wonder if they have a new writer on board with a very direct sense of humour. Aisling's goal is pretty neutral. It's called Aisling Duval's Call to Arms. But Jerome's is called Archer's Exploitation of Imperial Weakness. And Lee's is called Lee Yong-Rui's Territorial Opportunism. Now, I don't remember humorous titles being given to community goals before, so this is new and very welcome. The harshness of dystopian future stories are often counterbalanced with a bit of laconic humour, and so it's nice to see somebody remember this. Another new development is that in this goal the no-fire zones have been removed from the stations involved, which means you can fight in them, but you'll still be attacked by the station itself if you're on an opposing side or if you shoot the station. Although the no-fire zone removal doesn't apply to everything. If you try to deploy a ship-launched fighter, you'll still get told you're in a no-fire zone, and this shows how hard it is to do a change in a game like this and have it affect everything it needs to for consistency of implementation. It's obviously an oversight because you can go outside the fire zone, deploy your fighter and then go back in. The removal of no-fire zones is interesting though, and like anything new, it's caused its own fair share of speculation. Does this mean they're playing around with the idea of station attacks again, but in a new way? Could that provide squads like us with some new gameplay? Obviously I'm thinking that if we do get new types of station attack, then we'll also get rescues to do, and maybe even the chance to repair the stations afterwards, which would please our friends at Ida. But it could also provide new and exciting gameplay for everybody else as well. So fingers crossed, that's where they're going with this. I don't want to get my hopes up too much though. I remember having a chat with Commander Burr about, gotta be at least 3 years ago now. How time flies, eh? He made a rare appearance in our Discord one morning, dropped in for an early morning chat, and we'd both picked up on a new station message about using environment suits. And it led us both to speculate that perhaps we could have burning station rescues inside the station, but on foot. That never happened in the end, but could that also be part of some new type of station attack? It would be nice. Unlike the 2-week goals we've had so far, I'm doing this one with my second account, the one that I used for rescues in the war to build up my cash, while my main account did the fighting and sampling and Titan bombing. My second account is also the one I tried power play with just to check it out a few months ago, and so it's still pledged to Aisling Targaryen, Mother of Prismatics, and there's no shortage of places to fight. As Burr pointed out in his latest video, you can even do battle at the megaships and at Aisling's stronghold ship, plus all the power conflict zones in several systems, so you're never far away from a good scrap. The goal has received a lot of praise from players because it requires a bit more care and tactical thinking when fighting, especially around the capital ships and stations. Turreted weapons in particular can cause you trouble. For example, if they're firing at an NPC near a station or capital ship and the NPC throws out some chaff, the turrets will get thrown off by the chaff with a risk of hitting the station or the capital ship, which will then retaliate. This has caused a lot of players, especially newbies, to get blown away and complain about being lured into the capital ships by the NPCs. And certainly it does feel like that, with the NPCs breaking off periodically to make what appear to be attack runs on the megaship before returning to the general fray. But it makes you pick your battles. So if the NPC starts zooming in towards a capital ship or station, then hold back, switch to another target, and wait for them to return to you before firing at them again, or go high or low so that you have a line of fire to the ship that won't hit the megaship by accident. So it forces you to think, not just fly around shooting all and sundry. As Commander Helmut Grockenberger said, there are not that many places that teach commanders trigger discipline, so some might be in for a nasty surprise if you spam your guns willy-nilly. And even one of the volunteer moderators on the official forum, RootsRat, said, "This is great, can we have more like this?" All in all, the goal is going down well, and hopefully it's the start of new and interesting scenarios for players to enjoy. And as we enter the second week, there's no loss of enthusiasm or take-up for it. But there are suspicions that, good as these are, that they're masking a larger, underlying problem. Is this a way of stopping one power or another from expanding too quickly and keeping them in check? One criticism is that power play already has good ways of expanding your power, and if any of those become unbalanced or allow you to cheese the system, FDev puts that activity on hold while they rebalance it. But a community goal can bump up one power or another very quickly, which defeats the object of both game balance and a balance of power, at least for the duration. This is mitigated somewhat by choosing systems that are not that important or hard to get back as soon as the goal ends, so ultimately it's irrelevant to the outcome. We have 6 systems belonging to Aisling at stake, none of which are of particular importance, but even if she loses all of them by the end of the 2-week period, during that time the Pop Princess will probably gain 50 more elsewhere, and the ones she loses will have a very good chance of being taken straight back once the goal ends, if she wants them. So this is obviously something FDev have taken into account, and that's all fair enough as far as it goes. The problem is then, it feels like much ado about nothing. But there's another problem. It feels like the community goals are being used to keep the powers in check, while the existing problems in power play, and especially the balance issues, are being addressed. Which is great in one way because non-power players can get involved, but there's a general feeling that more work should be done to fix the existing problems in power play without having to use community goals as a quick band-aid, to redress temporary imbalances here or there. Or if FDev feel that some powers are attacking each other too much, while others are not attacking enough. As a long-term goal, this sort of thing shouldn't be needed, because it should arise naturally out of people playing power play, but it hasn't been, and so many changes would need to be made to make that happen. So as a short-term patch it's fine, but the feeling remains that if they made power play more interesting and in-depth than it is at the moment, then that would be better to focus on. There has been a power play patch with a lot of changes in it, which will hopefully improve this. So we'll see how it pans out over the next few weeks, and if I can get some feedback from the power players, I'll let you know. I personally like that players can participate in power play related goals without being pledged, and maybe this could make some players go on to try a bit of power play for themselves. That must be FDev's aim in doing this. But there are also valid criticisms, as I've said, and so while they do a great job of involving the whole community, whether they power play or not, and they could work to get people into power play and that's all good, it does feel like they're masking the underlying problems with power play that aren't being fixed fast enough. So there's work to be done there. With Distant Worlds 3 on the horizon for a start early next year, the crew have put together a website with everything on it, from history to present day activities and where you can sign up to the roster for when it gets going. The link is below, and the site has lots of interesting stuff on it, whether you're planning a trip out in the black or just want to know what Distant Worlds is all about. It's well worth a look. And that's it for this one. If something happens before we get the Vanguard update, I'll do something about it. Otherwise, watch your backs out there and don't fly without rebuy. Stay safe, and thanks for watching.